Good morning, class. Our topic for today is making a socialist society. This is the introductory class, so I will be giving you a general overview of the chapter, that is the socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution. So in this today's lecture, I will be covering how the socialism emerged in Europe and how it affected Russia and how Russia built a socialist society. But before we start, let me ask you a very simple question. Imagine a country in which there is no one very rich and no one is very poor. Everything is controlled by the government. So government controls the economy and government decides what to produce, how to produce, how much to produce, and at what price it should be sold in the market. Would you like to live in such a country? If yes, then why? If no, then why not? So if you do not have any answer right now, I am sure by the end of this class, you will have one answer. Because by the end of this class, you will be able to understand what is socialism, how socialism emerged in Europe, and how it affected Russia, emergence of socialism. Moreover, you will be able to understand its benefits and its drawbacks. So by comparing the benefits and drawbacks, you will be able to answer this question whether you want to live in that country or you do not want to live in such a country where everything is controlled by the government, resources are owned by the public, there are no landlords, and no big factory individual owners, factories owner who are owning the factory at the individual level. So, first of all, we should start with the first question. What is socialism? What do you understand by this term socialism? So, socialism is basically an ideology. This is an ideology, एक विचारधारा है socialism. Whichever word in our history and in political science ends with this ISM, it becomes an ideology. Like nationalism, like feminism, capitalism, patriotism, it is all an ideology. So, socialism is also an ideology. Which kind of ideology? Which believes in equality. The ideology which believes in equality, which believes in collective welfare of the people. Collective welfare. This collective word is very important. Now, what are the ways and what are the means to achieve this socialism? We will move on to how socialism emerged. So this is just an overview of the complete chapter. We are not going into the depth and details of each event because I just want to make it a very clear so that when I teach the subject in detail, you will be able to understand it more clearly, more precisely, more effectively, and moreover, you will be able to connect the dots. So this is important because this is the introductory class and just understand how socialism emerged in Europe. So, if you have read your first chapter carefully, you might recall that at the end of the chapter there was a Congress of Vienna which held in 1815, and what it did, it established a conservative government, established a conservative government at each country in Europe, isn't it? But but what happened? Because some liberals, some reformers, some radicals, they wanted the society to be transformed. They wanted the society to build on some social values. Social values like there should not be any exploitation of the poor. The factories should not be owned by rich individuals. There should not be a capitalist type of market. This idea is known as socialism. So, how it emerged? Because socialist thinkers like, there are some names which are given in your book. Robert Owen, he gave the theory of cooperatives. Now, what are cooperatives? Again, this chapter has lot of terms. Now, what are cooperatives? Cooperatives are nothing but when people come together and they form a group to produce and also they distribute the share of benefits according to the investment they did or according to the work they done. This is known as cooperative. Now Robert Owen gave this idea that the resources should not be owned by individual. Resource owning, resource should not be owned by few rich individuals. So what it should be done? Now what can be done? Because the resources, if the resources are not owned by few rich individuals, that means there are lot amount of people should come together and form a cooperative society. This idea was given by Robert Owen. This is the precursor of your formulation of socialism. Okay. Now next came after this Louis Blanc. Louis Blanc of France. He is from France, and this fellow gave the theory that cooperatives could be built by the people, but to make it on a wide scale, government has to get involved. So government has to get involved so that wide scale cooperatives could be built. Now, wide spread of cooperatives means that a lot amount of citizens should involve and should own the resources collectively, isn't it? After this comes the father of modern socialism, Karl Marx. He gave a very different theory. He said because the industrialization, whatever industrialization has happened till now, it is capitalist industrialization. That is, the resources are maximum owned by some individuals. Till the time the resources are owned by individuals, the poorer will get exploited. Can you tell me why? Why he opposed the private ownership of the resources or the private ownership of the factories? Simply because of one reason. Because the industrialist, who is a capitalist, who is investing his capital in the industry, is only gaining profit through the work done by the workers. The actual work is done by workers, but in return the workers did not get their share of amount. So till the time the individual who is owning the factory will try to maximize his profit and neglecting the welfare of the workers will get exploited. Now this Karl Marx gave the theory of socialism, like he went into the extreme. He went to the extreme that the workers should struggle against the individual owner or the property owner or the industrialist, and struggle in that sense that he should get all the resources into their hands. That means the workers should own the resources. Till that time, this struggle will go on. This socialism will not come. So he gave this theory. No, Russia. What happened in the Russia? We'll take up the case of Russia now. Russia was an agricultural society. It was an agricultural nation as compared to any other nation of Europe. An agriculture country थी ये, as compared to any other country in Europe like France and Germany, or for example Great Britain. The Russian population, 85% of Russian population was involved in agriculture. 85%, as compared to 40 or 60% in Germany and France. Now this Russia, it was ruled by a monarch known as Tsar Nicholas II. Okay, this Tsar Nicholas II was ruling Russia, and in Russia the socialism got emerged, and by the end of 1917 there was a Russian revolution, which we will talk about later when we go through the subject in detail. As of now, you just remember that after 1917 there was a great revolution in Russia, and in that revolution this Tsar Nicholas II was overthrown. So there was a person known as Lenin who came to Russia, and he gave a thesis known as April thesis, and in that thesis he said that banks should be nationalized, the property should be owned by the people. So transfer the land to the people, not to the kingdom. And he also said that all persons should get equal opportunity, isn't it? Now, this was the government formed by Lenin. It was Bolshevik government, Bolshevik, which believed in the idea of socialism. This idea of socialism forced, because now the property is owned, the resources are owned by the government. So government forced what to produce, how to produce, when to produce, and how much to produce, and at what prices it should be sold. It should be sold. So there was little freedom in the hands of peasants, in the hands of farmers, to choose what to produce and how much to produce. And moreover, they have to uh, give their small farms to make a big farm. Collectivization of farming, this is known as collectivization of farming. Collectivization of farming, because the modern techniques required that the farm should be at least economically efficiently big enough so that it is economically viable for the farming, for the farming to use the modern technique. So this was the forced collectivization. Now coming up to the achievements of socialism. What are the achievements of socialism in Russia? So achievements of socialism in Russia is, we have can you answer me one question? Did this move reduce inequality? Yes, obviously it reduced inequality, but at what cost? At the cost of your freedom. So tell me, can equality exist without freedom? You have already read your political science chapter 1, in which you have read what is democracy. So democracy is about freedom, about social justice. Can this type of government, or can this type of economic system can bring the freedom in the society? There was less freedom. But now we are talking about the achievements of the socialism. So no doubt industrial growth, industrial development happened at in Russia at a very fast pace. There is no doubt. Lesser unemployment, employment was provided by the government, so lesser unemployment. Workers conditions also improved. Workers conditions improved. Why? Can you tell me? Workers conditions improved. How did it improve workers conditions? Fixed wages is one of the most prominent feature of socialism. Fixed wages. Why fixed wages? Because it was all decided by the government. Government was controlling the economy, so government was deciding what to produce and when to produce and at what price it should be, say, sold in the market. So if the government is deciding on what prices it should be sell in the market, so government is also focusing on the welfare of the people, welfare, not profit. So profit booking was not the idea of socialism. Socialism was not focusing on profit, it was focusing on welfare. So the wages were also fixed. So these are some achievements of socialism, which we will study obviously in very detail. But now some drawbacks. Coming back to drawbacks. Again, very important. If you are going to critically examine socialism, then you have to study what are its drawbacks. First and foremost drawback was lack of freedom. Now, workers' conditions were improved, but workers were not given choice of which job they should take. Okay, so lack of freedom of expression, and oppression. Oppression. Suppress किया गया. जो whoever was opposing this idea was suppressed. So oppression. Next, forced agriculture. As I told you, forced agriculture was requisite, because to use the modern technology they have to use the forced agriculture. So these are some drawbacks also. Now coming back to the first question which I gave you in the starting, would you like to live in such a country? I am sure many of you have this answer ready now. Okay, we will discuss in our next class, can this idea of socialism work in today's country or today's world or not. Okay, so we will discuss it in the next class, and then we will take the chapter in detail. Thank you.